There is silence, not the silence of a quiet room or the stillness of night, but a deeper kind, the kind that exists when there is no time yet, no space, no thought, just the soft hum of possibility, waiting without knowing it, waits you are. There, in that timeless stillness, you are not a body, not yet. You are only a presence, floating in a place that does not exist. And in that nowhere, something stirs. It is not a bang, though it will come to be called that. It is more like a breath, an exhale from the lungs of a sleeping cosmos. From a single point, so small it has no size, everything begins to stretch. Time unfurls, and into the blooming, a flicker, the first flicker, not a flash or a blaze, no thunder, no fury, just a whisper of light slipping out across the newborn void. It doesn't know where it's going. There is nowhere yet to go, but still it moves, because that is what light does. It travels. You follow it, not behind, not beside, but within. You are the stillness it leaves behind, the wonder that chases after it. Light is young, then, free. It doesn't yet know the rules of the universe, because the universe is still writing them. But light knows how to dance. It leaps across the newborn cosmos, filling the darkness with soft brightness. And as it moves, it awakens. Matter begins to form in its glow. Hydrogen first, lightest of all, then helium, the building blocks of stars, the seeds of everything. The universe is not large yet. It is like a dream caught behind your eyelids, wanting to be seen. For 380,000 years, it waits, patient, glowing, echoing off the charged particles all around. The young universe is hot, opaque, a fog too thick to see through, but slowly it cools. Electrons settle, atoms form, and suddenly, wonderfully, the fog lifts. Light is free. It bursts forth in every direction, carrying the first visible story of the cosmos. That moment is still glowing today. We call it the cosmic microwave background, the baby picture of the universe. A quiet light that has never stopped traveling. You are riding that light now, not with your body, but with your mind, your imagination. You move through time at the speed of curiosity. This light is ancient, but it touches you still, brushing your skin in the static of old televisions, in the warmth of deep space. It has seen everything. It watched galaxies form, swirling whirlpools of stars that curled from nothing. It watched stars ignite, pulling darkness into flame. It danced at the edges of black holes, bent and stretched and folded, and always, always, it kept moving. You might think light is only something you see, but no, light is the great traveler, the timeless thread connecting what was, what is, and what may be. It moves not just through space, but through meaning. It tells you what stars are made of, how old they are, how far they've come. Are not seeing it now. You are seeing it as it was 100 years ago, because that is how long it took its light to reach your eyes. Light does not rush. It arrives when it is meant to, and it always brings a message. You turn inward for a moment, sensing your own body, the way your skin warms beneath the sun, the way your eyes adjust in the soft blue of evening, by the rhythms of day and night, circadian rhythms they call it, but it's really just light, talking softly to your biology. And it began with that first flicker, that ancient whisper now lives in you. Every morning you wake and let it in. You open your eyes and the story continues. But even now, in this quiet moment, you can feel it, not just the light from outside, but the memory of light deep within. The fire of stars made the atoms of your bones. The same photons that once danced from a star's surface may now dance upon your cheek. You are a child of light. You are not separate from it. You are shaped by it, grown in its warmth, awakened by its glow. And so when you close your eyes and imagine the beginning, you are not imagining something far away. Light, not in noise, not in chaos, but in a gentle unfolding, a breath, a shimmer, a sigh. And the story is only just beginning, because that first flicker became color. It became waves and hues and radiant dances. It became the soft gold of dawn, the deep indigo of twilight. It became visible, invisible, radiant, mysterious. And you, riding alongside it, will soon begin to wonder, what is this speed it travels at? Why does it never stop? And what secrets are hidden in the rhythm of its journey? You are drifting now, gently, in the wake of that first flicker. A quiet traveler, resting on the current of something weightless and bright. Light does not push or pull. It does not pound like thunder or swirl like wind. It glides, smooth and soundless, a hush moving faster than anything else can. You ride along, wrapped in its softness. It feels still, but it is not. You are moving at a speed beyond sensation, the fastest anything in the universe can move. 299,792,458 meters per second. But numbers at this hour are just cold shapes on paper. Let's say it another way. In one blink of your eye, light has danced around the earth nearly 8 times. It stretches from the sun to your face in just over 8 quiet minutes. From the moon, barely more than a breath. And yet, it doesn't feel fast. There's no wind, no rush, because light doesn't feel its journey. It has no mass, no pause, no hesitation. It is always in motion, but never in a hurry. This speed is its nature, not a choice, not a burst of energy, but a rule written deep into the fabric of the universe. A speed that is always the same, no matter where you are or how you move. Whether you stand still or race ahead, light still reaches you the same way. You might ask, how can anything move like this, without slowing, without changing, without ever resting? To answer that, you must let go of what you know about speed. You see, most things carry weight. They drag, they fall, they resist. But light carries no weight. A photon, the smallest packet of light, has no mass. It slips between atoms, around stars, through windows and water and thought. It bends when space bends, but it never stops, and it never loses its speed. There is a quiet elegance to this. Imagine a whisper that cannot be silenced, a ripple on water that never fades, that is light. It does not age like you do, because time, for light, does not pass in the same way. To a photon, the moment it leaves a star and the moment it touches your eye are the same moment. There is no before or after, only now, that may be difficult to grasp, but rest in the thought, not the logic. Let it settle like snow on your shoulders. Let it be mystery and comfort all at once. You might wonder, why this speed? Why not faster or slower? Because this is the limit, not just for light, but for everything. Nothing with mass can move faster than this. It's a ceiling built into the universe, a boundary no ship or signal can break. And yet, what a generous boundary it is. At this speed, light becomes more than brightness. It becomes a ruler for the cosmos. Every star we see, every galaxy, every echo from long ago, they reach us only because light carries their message across space. At this exact pace, light becomes our clock. It tells us how long ago something happened, simply by how long it took to arrive. A star seen from Earth may have died centuries ago, yet its light still arrives, bearing the last story of its glow. And in this way, light lets us look back in time. It turns telescopes into time machines. Not fantasy, but fact. Every time you gaze at the stars, you are seeing into the past. Isn't that a kind of wonder? You are not just looking up, you are looking back. That faint dot, far beyond the moon, might be shining from 1,000 years ago. Its message has taken centuries to arrive, and tonight, you are the one to receive it. You may never meet a star, but you can know its light. And in knowing it, you touch something ancient and let it touch you. Light carries more than images. It brings heat, energy, rhythm. The very cycles of your sleep are tied to the sun's slow climb and fall. Your heartbeat, your hunger, your rest, they all listen to light's cues. Even your mind is sensitive to its patterns. Blue light in the morning wakes you. Soft amber in the evening soothes. Your body trusts light to guide its clock, to remind it when to rise and when to let go. And so you are not just riding light, you are shaped by it. You are a creature tuned to its rhythm. A being whose senses, thoughts, even dreams, move in quiet harmony with its speed. Sometimes the world moves too fast. Faster than you can follow, faster than your breath can keep up. But light speed, though swift, never rushes. It is the speed of presence, of everything arriving just when it is meant to, and never sooner. Tonight, you feel that calm certainty, the sense that time is not slipping, but unfolding, that every moment will arrive when it should, carried to you gently on light's steady current as you drift further into stillness. Let yourself rest in that motionless motion. You are not running, you are not chasing, you are simply floating on the fastest thing there is. And yet, it feels like peace. A silence stretched across space. A pause that sings without a sound. A rhythm that does not need to hurry. But perhaps you wonder now, if light moves so fast, how do we ever catch its color? What makes it red, or blue, or gold, as it dances across the sky? If light is a traveler, then what stories does it carry in its color? White light seems simple, a glow, a beam, a blank canvas of brightness. But tonight, you are invited to look again. Because white is not empty, it is full. It is crowded, layered, humming with hidden voices. You lie still, eyes closed, but your mind opens. You imagine white light as a basket, woven from strands of color. Each thread, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, twisting together so tightly that it looks like one thing. But pass it through a droplet of water or a crystal's clear edge, and the basket unravels. A rainbow spills out, light. When slowed or bent, reveals its secrets. It fans open like a feather, like a slow breath across a prism. The colors are always there, always waiting, but they do not shout, they whisper. You begin with red. The longest wave, the first warmth. Red is not sharp, it's a lullaby. Stretched out like a blanket, it moves slow and steady, like coals glowing in the quiet of night. Red is the color of sunsets, of hearts beating beneath skin. It travels furthest in fog, in smoke, in sleep. Then comes orange, richer, rounder, glowing like morning embers. Orange is where heat hums louder, where warmth becomes invitation. The sky wears it at dusk, and your body remembers it from firelight. And falling leaves, yellow follows, bright, eager, curious. It dances on the edge of sunlight. It wakes flowers, stirs bees, stings your thoughts into motion. Yellow is the color of reaching, of awareness just beginning to bloom. Then green, the middle, the balancing act between heat and chill, fire and frost. Green is the color of breath, of forests and fields, of chlorophyll soaking in sunlight to build life from nothing. You are made, in part, by this color, by plants that sip light and turn it into food, into flesh. Blue arrives like cool water. It sharpens the edges of thought. Blue light wakes you in screens, in sky, in snow. It travels in shorter waves, faster, more focused. You feel it in the crispness of morning, in the blink of winter stars. Then indigo, nearly night, a turning inward. This is the color between awareness and dream, the deepening of shadows. The first slow silence, and at last, violet, shortest of all, quickest, brightest, barely visible. Violet is almost a whisper you can't quite hear. It buzzes at the edge of vision where light begins to become something else, a feeling, a vibration, a knowing. You may wonder, how does your body sense all this? Inside your eyes are tiny cells, cones, they're called, 3 kinds, tuned like musical notes, one to reds, one to greens, one to blues, just 3. And yet, from these, your brain composes an entire orchestra of color. Your cones don't see color as a painter sees pigment. They respond to energy, to wave after wave. Each color is not a separate thing, but a different rhythm in the same invisible dance. Longer waves, like red and orange, are slow and wide, like rolling hills. Shorter waves, like blue and violet, are tight and quick, like ripples on a pond touched by a breeze. When white light touches a surface, a leaf, a shirt, a pearl, some waves bounce back, some are absorbed. What bounces back is what you see, a ripe strawberry. It absorbs every color except red. Red is what escapes, the only part that reaches your eyes. So red is not what the strawberry is, it's what the strawberry gives away. And just like that, color becomes a language. Each surface, each object, speaks in reflected waves. And your eyes, your brain, your body, listen. But it's more than physics. Color moves through you emotionally. It anchors memories, deepens dreams. You feel calm in blue rooms, warm in orange light, alert in yellow glow, even in darkness. You remember color, you dream in it, not always as it was, but as your heart reshapes it. Because color is not just outside of you, it lives in your imagination, too. Some creatures see more than you. Bees see ultraviolet. They follow secret paths on flowers, invisible trails made of light you cannot see. Snakes sense infrared warmth shimmering off the bodies of prey. The world glows differently for every eye, and still, your spectrum, narrow though it may be, is enough to hold wonder. It is enough to let you see the sky turn from golden to gray. Enough to know when a bruise is healing. Enough to watch a candle flicker from gold to blue as its flame stretches, enough to read the light of stars and hear the music of their burn, because light tells its stories in color. Hot stars shine blue, cooler stars glow red. A star nearing the end of its life shifts its shade like a breath turning shallow. Astronomers read these changes not with ears, but with eyes. They listen to color, and from it they learn the age, distance, and nature of distant suns. And when light moves toward you, its waves shorten, the color shifts blue. When it moves away, the waves stretch, and color slides toward red. This is the Doppler effect, in light instead of sound. The same reason a siren rises and falls as it passes, except now it's galaxies doing the shifting. The light of faraway worlds is stretched red as they speed away. This is how we know the universe is expanding. Color tells us, silently, faithfully, truthfully. So white light, it is not plain, it is not empty, it is a blend, a symphony, each color playing its note in the grand story of the cosmos. And when you look at it, when you pass it through a drop of rain or a glass of crystal, you are not just seeing light, you are seeing memory, energy, motion, meaning. You are sipping sunlight, one hue at a time. And as you rest tonight, you can almost feel the colors shifting behind your closed eyes, a soft watercolor of wavelengths swirling in the dark. But what happens when this light touches you more deeply, not just through your eyes, but through your skin? What messages does sunlight write into your body? You begin this chapter lying still, but not in darkness. There is a quiet glow behind your eyelids, soft and golden. You can feel it, not just around you, but within you. A warmth, not from blankets or breath, but from memory. The memory of sunlight. It lingers in your skin like an old lullaby. You've carried it all day, in your bones, in your blood. Even now, in the hush of evening, your body holds the gentle echo of morning light. Sunlight touches you deeper than you realize. It is not only a warmth on your face or a glow through the window. It is a language spoken not in words, but in waves, a dialogue between light and living cells. Your skin listens to this dialogue. It does not need ears to hear it. Each cell, each molecule, knows how to receive the message. And the message is written in light's energy. When sunlight touches your skin, something extraordinary begins. Tiny messengers beneath the surface wake up, molecules called 70-hydrocholesterol, quiet and waiting. They absorb ultraviolet light, not all of it, just the perfect slice. And in response, they change. They begin to shape vitamin D. This vitamin isn't just a supplement in a bottle. It is something your body makes when it feels sunlight. It strengthens bones, calms your immune system, and helps you sleep peacefully, like you are tonight. In this way, sunlight becomes a kind of ink. It writes its letters into your skin, and your body reads them, slowly, tenderly, day after day. But this ink does more than build. It reminds your skin is covered in tiny clocks, biological timekeepers, called circadian receptors. They read the light outside and whisper to your brain, it is morning, it is dusk, it is time to rest. This is how your body stays in rhythm, not just because of alarms or habits, but because light tells time and your cells understand it. Even your eyes, deep in your skull, are tuned to these patterns. A special cluster of cells behind your retinas detects the brightness of the day, not to help you see, but to help you know. They send signals to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a tiny structure in your brain that keeps time, not with numbers, but with light. This rhythm affects everything: your heartbeat, your digestion, your mood, the way you heal, the moment you begin to dream. So light is not just something you see, it is something you are. You are a collection of rhythms, woven from light's touch. Sunlight flows through your biology like a conductor's baton, guiding each part to play in time. You may have noticed, when you spend days without sunlight, your thoughts dim slightly. Sleep becomes heavier, moods become quieter. You are not broken, you are simply out of tune, like a song without melody, like a clock without sunlight to wind it. But even on cloudy days, even behind glass, your skin can still listen. Even a few minutes of daylight can reset your inner compass. And so you step outside, or even just toward a window, and the conversation begins again. There is more. Light also enters your bloodstream, not as heat, but through its subtle pressure on your biology. Sunlight causes the release of nitric oxide, a molecule that softens blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and tells your heart you can slow down now. In this way, sunlight calms you from the inside, not with force, but with invitation, not with noise, but with presence, and light touches your thoughts, too. Exposure to sunlight increases serotonin, a neurotransmitter linked to peace, to steadiness, to clarity. You may not feel it as a sudden joy, but as a quiet return to center, a feeling of being where you belong. And when night falls, light gently steps back, your body senses its absence. Darkness tells your pineal gland to release melatonin, a hormone that whispers, "Sleep now." The cycle completes. Light and dark, not as opposites, but as companions, each one passing the message to the other, each one caring for your body in its own way. You are not just surviving in this rhythm, you are shaped by it, formed by it. You were born into it, even in the womb. The rhythm of your mother's exposure to light began to form your earliest patterns. And even now, decades later, your skin still remembers. You are, in a way, a photosynthetic being. Not like a plant, you do not make sugar from sunlight, but you do make peace. You do make rhythm. You make wellness. All because light enters you, and you allow it to. But light's journey doesn't end at the skin. It enters your eyes. It dances on your retina. It shapes how you see the world, not just in color, but in depth, in movement, in feeling. And here, in the eyes, light becomes sight. It becomes image. It becomes memory. But that is for the next chapter. Tonight, you rest in the soft truth that your body and light are not strangers. You have known each other for as long as you've existed. You are not just in the light. You are made of it, spoken into form by its language. And as you breathe here, slowly, in this quiet moment, you feel its presence still, a slow, golden hum beneath your skin, singing without sound, reminding you that you belong, that you are part of something older than thought, that you are a vessel for light's memory. And just as light writes itself into your body, it also shapes the space around it. It bends, it pauses, it casts shadows, and those shadows, they, too, are part of the story. You may think of a shadow as the absence of something, an emptiness, a lack, a silent hole where light should be. But tonight, as you drift deeper into this journey, you come to see a shadow, not as a loss, but as a quiet confession, because A shadow is not where light fails. It's where light reveals. It shows the shape of what stands in its way. It outlines the curve of a shoulder, the edge of a tree branch, the spine of a mountain against the sky. You don't see the thing directly. You see the story it tells through light's pause. A shadow is where light chooses to bend, where it slows, where it's blocked, where it whispers instead of sings. Even your own shadow, soft on the ground beneath the sun, is not something detached from you. It is your body, cast into light's memory. It is a silhouette carved from brightness. Shadows move with you, stretch with you, wrap around you at dawn, and dissolve behind you at noon. They lengthen like sighs in the evening, tired, gentle, slow, and still they speak. You know this, even if only by feeling the way a room shifts as sunlight crawls across the floor. The hush that falls when clouds pass and shadows blur. You sense the rhythm. Even at night, when the moon rises full and clear, you see shadows made not by sunlight, but by reflected light, borrowed light, and still they hold truth. There is something deeply calming about watching shadows. You are not witnessing darkness. You are witnessing form. The soft silhouette of leaves rustling on a wall, the curve of candlelight against your hand, the eclipse of a face half draped in moonlight. These are not accidents, they are conversations, because shadows tell you where the light has been. They mark its journey like footprints left in the brightness, but they also speak of scale. A small object, when close to the source, casts a large shadow. A child's hand, held close to a lamp, becomes a towering creature on the wall. You knew this as a child, when you played shadow games, stretching your fingers into rabbits, birds, dragons made of flicker and silence. Even then, without words, you understood that shadows are shaped by light's path, and sometimes by light's absence. In deep space, there are shadows too, not cast by trees or towers, but by planets and moons. An eclipse is simply one body stepping into the light meant for another. And in that moment, a shadow crosses miles and miles of space. So does the moon. And when they align just right, they remind you how large and delicate shadows can be. Think of a solar eclipse, daylight folding inward, the sky holding its breath, the sun swallowed by a dark circle. The world becomes muted, animals go quiet. Even your own heartbeat feels slower, but the sun hasn't vanished. It's just paused, hidden behind the moon's patient silhouette. And in that stillness, you understand something quiet and vast, that light and shadow are not enemies. They are partners. They rely on one another to be known. Where there is no shadow, there is no form. Where there is no light, there is no contrast. But where they meet there, you see. You understand this most deeply at dusk, the moment when day is not quite day, and night is not quite night, when shadows lengthen not because of darkness, but because of the angle of light. In these golden moments, everything feels softened, edges blur, details hush. The world becomes a watercolor, smeared in amber and blue and silver gray. You feel safe in that softness, because shadows do not threaten. They hold space, they cradle. They are the pause in a sentence, the breath between thoughts, and your body understands this. Your pupils widen in shadow. Your senses become more alert. Listen more closely when the world darkens slightly, not out of fear, but out of readiness. Light sharpens, shadow deepens, and you begin to feel the shape of things that cannot be named, even in science. Shadows hold meaning. Astronomers use shadow to learn the size of distant planets, measuring the dip in starlight as a world passes in front of its star. They do not see the planet directly. They see the shadow it casts, and from that they understand its mass, its orbit, its mood. So the shadow becomes not a void, but a message, a quiet note, scribbled in light's absence. Even here, in your room, you are surrounded by shadows, cast by the dim lamp, by the folds of a curtain, by the soft lines of your resting limbs. They move with the slow pulse of night. They do not intrude. They keep you company, and in this calm, you begin to wonder if perhaps darkness is not the opposite of light, but its mirror. What if the deepest truths are not found in brightness, but in the spaces where light steps aside? What if silence is not a lack of sound, but the room in which song finds space to echo? What if a shadow is not what hides the world, but what reveals its shape? You are not alone in the dark. You are embraced by the dance of light and shadow, and your mind, like a candle in a still room, flickers gently with wonder. Because now you begin to ask if shadows tell the shape of light. What happens when light bends? What happens when it turns, curves, twists through time and space? What secrets are found in that bending? There's a kind of magic that arrives with the quiet of summer dusk. The air is still, warm as a held breath, and the world softens into lavender and gold. You step outside barefoot, and in the hush they appear. Little lights, floating like thoughts just waking from sleep. One flickers near your hand, another drifts by your ankle, and soon 100 tiny lanterns pulse across the grass. Fireflies. But they are not fire, and they are not flies. They are beetles, small and unassuming by day, but at night they become something wondrous, living sparks that write poetry across the dark. You watch them without needing to understand. But tonight, let's listen a little closer. Let's slip into the rhythm of their glow and ask gently, what is this light? It begins deep inside them, in a soft, wet organ beneath their bellies, called a lantern. And yes, it really is called that. Here, chemistry stirs a molecule named luciferin meets oxygen. An enzyme called luciferase steps in, and together they create light, not heat, not flame, just glow. This is what scientists call cold light. Almost all of the energy becomes light, wasting none as warmth. It's astonishing, really, a natural process, more efficient than most man-made bulbs. And yet, the firefly doesn't do this just to be beautiful. It glows with purpose. Some flash to attract mates. Each species has its own rhythm, like a love song made of light. Others use the glow to warn predators. I don't taste good. Even the larvae, tiny, hidden in soil, give off a faint green shimmer, a signal in the dark, a heartbeat of life. But fireflies are not alone in this. All across the earth, light lives within life. In the deepest oceans, where sunlight never reaches, there are creatures who carry stars inside them. A jellyfish that trails a blue glow like a silk ribbon. A squid whose belly blinks in patterns like Morse code. A fish with a lamp dangling from its forehead, swinging in the black like a question mark. Bioluminescence. It's called lifelight, a soft pulse of visibility in places where the world forgets brightness. In forests, fungi glow from the bark of damp trees. Foxfire, they call it. You can walk among the roots and see green light curling like fog around your feet. In caves, glowworms hang like beads of light from the ceiling, luring insects upward into their webbed threads. Their glow is eerie, otherworldly, a still constellation. Underground, even in shallow water, you might see it as you swim. Tiny sparks light up where your hands stir the sea. Microscopic plankton, disturbed by movement, ignite for a moment, then fade like memories. This light is not just beauty, it's survival. Some creatures use it to hide. By glowing just enough, they cancel out their own shadow, a trick called counter-illumination. To the eye below, they seem to vanish into the blue dot. Others use it to lure, to startle, to warn. Each species with its own reason, its own silent signal. And yet, to you, watching from the shore, or the woods, or the screen of a summer night, it feels like wonder, as if the earth herself keeps a secret symphony, a hush of brightness, a chorus of small, glowing songs. You remember, perhaps, catching fireflies as a child, your fingers careful, your heart beating with curiosity. You placed them gently in a jar, just for a moment, watched them blink like stars behind glass. It wasn't to keep them, it was to hold light, to feel close to something quiet and alive. And maybe even now, you feel a bit of that same pull. Not to trap the glow, but to understand it, to let it live next to you. The firefly's glow is not only chemistry, it's not only survival, it is story, because every blink has a rhythm. Each pattern of flash and pause is a message, not in words, but in timing. One species flashes once every 4 seconds. Another blinks in double pulses. Some synchronize, lighting up entire trees like twinkling choirs. You lie in the dark, and you begin to hear the rhythm, a soft code tapped into the night. It is peaceful, reassuring, like listening to a conversation. You can't translate, but still understand, because your body knows rhythm. Your heart beats in patterns. Your breath follows cycles. Your sleep comes in waves. And so the firefly's flicker feels familiar, like being seen, like being joined. Even your own cells, at the smallest level, use light. In labs, scientists use bioluminescent markers to study genes and track signals. Glow, used as language, as map, as guide. The light inside life helps us understand life itself. It's strange and lovely, isn't it? That something so gentle, so fleeting, so fragile, can be a key to deep understanding. And maybe, just maybe, that is what makes light inside living things feel so special, because it's not blinding, not overwhelming, not loud. It's soft, almost shy, and yet it speaks volumes. So tonight, as you drift beneath your own skin, as your thoughts quiet into starlit rhythms, remember that you are not far from this glow. You carry chemistry too. You carry timing. You carry the memory of warm nights and jars of light, of stars caught in your palms. And just like the firefly, you move through darkness with something softly shining from within. But not all light stays inside the living. Some escapes, some echoes, some travels outward and reflects, showing us new worlds in return. And that reflection, that bouncing light, is what comes next. You stand before a mirror, still and quiet, and light returns your gaze. Not directly, not in a straight line, but softly, bounced, reversed, and rearranged. What you see isn't the light itself. It's the path it took to reach you again. The journey it made to find its way back to your eyes. A reflection. And just like that, you realize, light remembers. It doesn't just move forward. It loops. It lingers. It echoes. Mirrors are not magic. They are sheets of glass backed by silver or aluminum. But their gift is simple and elegant. They give light a place to turn around. When a beam of light hits a smooth surface, it reflects. It bounces back at the same angle it arrived. This is the law of reflection. Predictable, graceful, almost like a bow in a slow dance. And in this return, a pattern appears. You look at your reflection, and it looks back, reversed, familiar, uncanny. It's not you, but it is. It's not now, but it's close. There's a softness in this echo, a quiet doubling of the world. And mirrors aren't the only ones that do this. Every calm pool, every window at night, every polished surface that catches a bit of light becomes a stage for reflection. Even your own eyes, dark and shimmering, can hold someone's face like a lake holds the sky. This is what reflection is. A second glance, a light that doesn't disappear but circles. Sometimes it circles so many times you can't tell what's real and what's a copy. Step between two mirrors, and you find yourself repeated forever. A hallway of versions, each one smaller, dimmer, echoing dot. It's not just beauty. It's physics folding in on itself, and it's everywhere, in a spoon's curved belly. Light reflects inward, making your face seem tiny and upside down. In the gleam of a raindrop, a flower's image curls inside its shape. Even a bubble, shimmering on the breeze, reflects the world around it, but bends it into circles, twisting light like a ribbon in wind. Reflection is not always gentle. Sometimes it startles. A flash in a camera, the glare of a setting sun on glass, the sudden doubling of headlights in a wet road. Light bounces back fast, and sometimes it shouts, but mostly it whispers, and you listen, not with ears, but with eyes. You read reflected light like a language. You notice more than you think. The glint in someone's eyes, the soft blue tint of a room filled with snow light, the golden hour painting your skin as the sun sinks low. Light doesn't need words. It tells you everything with angle, tone, and bounce. And sometimes it tells you stories. Look at a mountain reflected in a lake. You're not just seeing the mountain. You're seeing symmetry. You're seeing silence. You're seeing what stillness can carry. Photographers chase reflections like secrets. Artists study them like spells. And children play with them, laughing at their backward selves, making faces, watching light return in strange and delightful ways. But what happens when light reflects not off mirrors or water, but from more mysterious surfaces? Some reflections aren't perfect. Frosted glass scatters light, so your reflection becomes a ghost, a blur of shapes, soft and unknowable. Brushed metal reflects light unevenly. Your face stretches, warps, becomes a stranger in silver. These imperfect echoes show you that not all reflections are true. Some are distorted, some are playful, some are partial truths, and yet they all come from the same light. They all come from the same source. Even the moon, which glows so gently in the night sky, it's not a light of its own. It's sunlight reflected, bounced from stone, softened by dust, sent back to Earth in slow silver waves. The moon is a mirror. It gathers day and pours it into night. It is reflection on a cosmic scale, and this is true beyond the moon. Every planet in the solar system reflects light. Even distant ice moons and gas giants shine faintly in the sky, not because they burn, but because they echo the sun. The universe is full of mirrors, not just glass and water, but clouds, crystals, atmospheres, each one a different kind of bounce. Some telescopes even use mirrors to collect light. Huge curved dishes that catch ancient photons, bending and focusing them until stars from galaxies far away appear sharp in our eyes. A mirror becomes a time machine. Light that left its home billions of years ago finally arrives, bounced, focused, seen, and in seeing it, you reflect it once more into your mind, into memory. This is the strange gift of light. It's never only in one place. It moves, it bends, it returns. It wraps around corners, whispers through reflections, lives in echoes. You carry it with you. You look at a reflection, and you see both the thing and the memory of the thing, the now and the almost now, the light and its echo. Mirrors become windows. Reflections become moments, and even illusions. A pencil that seems bent in water, or a pool that isn't there in desert heat, teach you how light can trick the mind. But these tricks are not lies. They are lessons. They are ways of seeing how deeply your world is woven from bending, bouncing light. And perhaps, as you lie here in the gentle quiet of night, you begin to wonder if a reflection is just a return. Then what happens to the light that doesn't come back? What happens when light bends not off a mirror, but around something vast and invisible? What happens when space itself curves the path? It begins with quiet, not silence, but a different kind of hush. The kind that follows a storm. The clouds have emptied themselves. The world is damp and glistening, like it's just stepped out of a deep sleep. You walk slowly, your steps soft, in the wet grass, and above you, light begins to return, but not all at once. It comes filtered through lingering mist, through beads of water resting on leaves, through the droplets still suspended in the sky. And then you see it, a curved shimmer, thin as breath, arching quietly from nowhere to nowhere. A rainbow dot. You stop, because even though you've seen them before, they never lose their wonder. They always feel like something that's not supposed to be real, too delicate, too brief, too perfect. And yet, here it is, color, suspended in air, not painted, not projected, but born, for a moment, in the dance between rain and light. You breathe it in slowly, and you wonder gently, where does it come from? To answer, you have to look closer, not at the whole, but at the parts. Rainbows are not made by clouds or storms or magic. They're made by drops. Each raindrop acts like a tiny crystal sphere, catching sunlight as it passes through. The light slows down as it enters the drop, then bends, a process called refraction. Inside the droplet, the light reflects off the back wall, bouncing once like a whisper in a round room. Then it bends again as it exits, scattering outward in its separate colors. Red bends a little, violet bends more, and in between, orange, yellow, green, and blue stretch like threads being unwound. One droplet doesn't make a rainbow, but millions each, splitting and scattering the sunlight just so, combine their colors into a grand arc across the sky. But here's the wonder. No two people see the same rainbow, because it depends entirely on where you stand, your eyes, your angle, the exact droplets in front of you. They decide what rainbow you see. Move a step to the side, and the colors shift. Tilt your head, and the arc changes. The rainbow is not out there on its own. It's a relationship between light, rain, and you. And that makes it feel even more personal, as if the sky decided, just for a moment, to write something just for your eyes. You trace the arc with your gaze, from red at the top to violet at the bottom, the same order, always, a calm procession of hues. Roijbiv, they taught you a name, a ladder of color, but these aren't just pigments. They're wavelengths. Each color is light, but vibrating at a slightly different rhythm. Red stretches, long and lazy. Violet pulses, quick and tight. Together, they form the visible spectrum, the part of light your eyes can read. But beyond that spectrum, beyond red, beyond violet, there is more. Invisible colors, infrared, ultraviolet, songs that your body feels, even if your eyes do not see them. And rainbows remind you that there is always more than you can see. Sometimes, if the conditions are just right, if the sun is low and the rain is light, you might see a second arc, fainter, wider, reversed in color. A double rainbow. The outer band is formed by light that bounces twice inside the droplet before escaping. A more delicate whisper, an echo of the first arc, and between the two bands, a dark strip known as Alexander's band. A space where the light doesn't reach your eyes quite right. It's these little details, the hush between colors, the way the rainbow seems to float, the softness of its edge, that make it feel like a dream. You can never touch it, never. Walk to its base. The closer you try to get, the more it drifts away. It isn't a thing to be held, it's an experience, a moment made of position, light, and timing. And maybe that's why it feels so meaningful, because rainbows are reminders of in-between moments, not the storm, not the sun, but the space between. They appear when contrast meets, when brightness follows shadow, when clarity follows confusion. You've felt this in your own life, after hard days, after loss, after silence. Something shifts, and suddenly, color returns, not loudly, but gently, like a rainbow. You walk a little further. Raindrops still cling to the air, and in some of them, if you look closely, you see tiny reflections, microscopic rainbows. The world bent just slightly inside a drop. Even soap bubbles, those fragile domes of air and film, carry bands of color, not from the same scattering, but from the interference of light waves. Another kind of rainbow. Another way light plays with thinness and curve. It makes you wonder, how many rainbows do you miss each day just because you weren't looking? Not just in the sky, but in windows, puddles, oil on asphalt, wings of beetles, feathers of birds. Color, always hiding in plain sight, because light doesn't stop playing just because you stop noticing. It keeps bending, keeps whispering, keeps telling stories in every direction. And rainbows, those quiet bridges of brilliance, remind you of something deeper, that beauty doesn't need to last to be real, that some truths are only visible from the right angle, and that wonder often appears just after the storm. You watch the colors fade. One by one, they soften, not vanishing, but dissolving, returning to white, returning to light, and you feel a soft tug inside, not of loss, but of gratitude because you saw it. Because, for a moment, the sky spoke in color, but now your eyes drift to the horizon. The storm has passed. The light is still changing. And somewhere beyond this arc of rain and reflection, a new question begins to form. What happens to the colors that aren't meant for your eyes at all? Light is not only what you see, it's what you feel. It's what warms your skin, what brushes past your cheek in the quiet of morning, what fills a room even when your eyes are closed. And yet, so much of it, so much you never see at all tonight. As you lie back into stillness, you begin to drift into that secret world where light walks softly. Just beyond the reach of your vision, there are colors out there just as real, just as radiant, that your eyes were never designed to notice, not because they're hiding, but because your body listens in different ways. Let's begin with what you do know. The rainbow, that delicate arc of color, spans from red to violet, a spectrum made visible through water and light. But that's only a sliver, a narrow slice of a much broader symphony to the left of red. Beyond what you can see, there's a realm called infrared. It means below red. Here, light stretches into longer, slower waves, waves you can't see, but you can feel. You feel them when sunlight warms your skin. Not the brightness, the heat, that deep, gentle pulse that sinks into your arms, your shoulders, your cheeks. Infrared light is like a warm exhale from the universe. It carries no color, no shape, just presence, just touch. Some animals see it. Snakes, for example, use infrared to sense prey in the dark. They don't see shapes the way you do, they see heat signatures, but glowing gently in the warmth of their birth. Light glows softly in the world around you, from the surface of your skin, from a cup of tea, from the earth after sundown. Even in darkness, there is light. You just need the right kind of eyes to see it. Now, turn your gaze the other way, to the right of violet. Beyond the high, sharp edge of visible color lies ultraviolet. Beyond violet. Here, the waves are shorter, faster, and they carry more energy. You cannot see them, but they are there. The sun spills ultraviolet light across the earth every day. It's what gives you sunburn, what darkens your skin, what stirs the making of vitamin D inside your cells. You don't see ultraviolet, you respond to it. Some creatures do more than respond. Bees, for instance, see in ultraviolet. To them, flowers wear secret patterns, guiding their tiny feet toward pollen and nectar. What looks like a simple petal to you is, to the bee, a radiant landing strip. Even birds, butterflies, and some fish carry colors invisible to your eyes, feathers, and scales that shimmer in ultraviolet hues. To them, the world is lit with hidden brilliance, and sometimes, under certain lights, you catch a glimpse of this secret glow. Black light, a type of ultraviolet, makes white clothes glow, makes certain minerals shine with eerie fire, makes scorpions blaze ghost blue beneath the desert stars. It feels like magic, but it's simply energy, moving just beyond your eye's rhythm. Infrared and ultraviolet. These two invisible borders are only the beginning. Light extends in both directions, far past what you can feel or imagine. Stretch infrared far enough, and you enter the realm of microwaves and radio waves, the kind of light that carries music through the air, that warms your food, that lets satellites speak across oceans, bring ultraviolet to sharper focus, and you find X-rays, gamma rays, light so intense, so fine, it pierces flesh and reveals bone, travels through galaxies, escapes from black holes' edges. These are all light, not different in essence, just different in frequency, in wavelength, in energy. Light is not a single thing. It is a spectrum of experience. And you are tuned to one gentle octave, but your body listens to more. Your skin absorbs warmth. Your cells respond to vitamin rays. Your bones reveal themselves in X-ray glow. You are not blind to the invisible. You are immersed in it, and this makes you wonder how many things glow that you never notice. How much of the universe is quietly shining just out of view. The cosmos is not a dark place. It only seems that way because your eyes were made for safety, not for stars. But now, as you lie here with thoughts soft as dusk, you begin to sense the deeper truth that visibility is not the same as presence, that what is unseen is not untrue. Infrared light glows from every warm body. Ultraviolet dances on every flower's petal. Radio waves pass through you constantly. X-rays from space trace paths in the dark sky. Microwaves whisper background hums from the Big Bang itself, and all of it, you are part of it, even when your eyes are closed. And so, the next time you feel warmth on your arm, or see a flower trembling in sunlight, or gaze at the moon glowing white in the sky, you might remember, light is never limited to what you can see. It lives in the quiet. It sings in the background. It shapes what is, even when it does not show itself. And this leads you gently to the next, wondering, if light exists, even when unseen, can it move where nothing else moves? Can it bend when space itself bends? You lie beneath a sky thick with stars. They shimmer above you, quiet, ancient, patient, each one a point of light, each one a syllable in a language the night has always known. And without knowing how, you begin to listen. Not with your ears, not even with your eyes, but with something slower, a deep sense of presence, of recognition, of wonder, stretching out in all directions. Light arrives from these distant suns, after traveling for years, centuries, millennia. Some of it left its home before your body was ever born, before the first stories were told, before Earth knew the shape of cities, and now it touches your skin. A photon, a particle of light, brushing your eyelid like the whisper of a thought. Light, at the end of its long journey. But it isn't just light, it's language. Because stars do not speak in words, but they do speak. Their glow is not silent. It is rich with meaning. Look closer. Even just with your imagination. Some stars appear red, like embers banked in ash. Others are blue, like ice that burns. Their colors aren't decoration, their temperature, red. Stars are cooler, older, their light stretched by age and distance. Blue stars burn hotter, younger, faster, their lives more intense, but shorter. You're not just looking at dots. You're reading a celestial spectrum. Every shade of starlight is a sentence. And there's more stars flicker. They seem to dance, to tremble. This isn't because they're uncertain. It's because you are looking through layers of Earth's air moving, shifting, like water rippling above a coin. But behind that shimmer, the star holds steady. Its light pulses, carrying codes. If you could spread it out, stretch it into a rainbow, you'd find thin, dark lines crossing the colors. These are absorption lines, like fingerprints. They tell you what the star is made of. Hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen. Each element leaves its mark. Each one absorbs a tiny slice of color. By reading those lines, astronomers decode the stars, chemistry, its temperature, its speed, its age. It's as if the star is sending out a long letter written entirely in light, and still the message deepens. Some stars brighten and dim in rhythm, not from clouds or shadow, but from changes deep within, their outer layers swelling and falling like a breath. These are variable stars. Their light is not constant, but patterned, a kind of heartbeat in the sky. And if a star is part of a system, orbiting another, or being orbited by a planet, its light will change in tiny, predictable ways. A dip in brightness can mean a world has passed in front of it, a transit, a flicker of evidence that something else is there. This is how we find exoplanets, not by seeing the planets directly, but by reading the language of the star, its slight pauses, its stuttered glow. A star tells you when it's not alone, even its motion, its subtle drift across the sky writes a story through a process called redshift. If a star is moving away from you, its light stretches, its spectrum slides toward red. If it's coming closer, the light compresses, leans toward blue. You don't see the shift with bare eyes, but with instruments you can measure motion, detect speed, understand direction. Light tells you not just where a star is, but where it's going. And so, the sky becomes not a still canvas, but a moving map, a library of motion, chemistry, time. Even stars that explode supernova do so in brilliant, wordless declarations. Their final flare casts light across galaxies, announcing both an ending and a beginning. Because from that light, new elements are born: gold, iron, calcium, the building blocks of planets, bones, breath. You carry star stories inside you. Your blood holds iron made in stellar hearts. Your bones contain calcium shaped in ancient suns. Your thoughts, your muscles, your breath, they are the echoes of starlight, collapsed into form. And when you look up, it's not just looking, it's remembering. It's recognizing kin, because stars do not simply shine. They teach. They've taught humanity for thousands of years. Navigators using constellations to find their way. Farmers reading the sky to plant and harvest. Poets linking stars to longing. Scientists listening for patterns in the light. The North Star stands nearly still, a quiet anchor in a turning world. Orion marches across winter nights, his belt a celestial arrow, and the Milky Way, our own galaxy, stretches like a river of mist. Each speck a sun, each glimmer a story not yet read. Even now, with telescopes and satellites, you are still just learning to listen to the stars, each one a beacon, each one a syllable in a universe-wide sentence. Some stars pulse like clocks. Pulsars, spinning neutron stars, send beams of light in perfect timing. Like a lighthouse in space, they rotate and flash, marking time with more precision than any watch on Earth. Some stars hide secrets, orbiting black holes that bend their light. Or binary systems, so close they blur into each other. Light reveals these hidden dances, these gravitational embraces, these slow stories written over eons, and all of it, comes to you as light, not loud, not fast, but steady, enough to last across centuries, to find your eyes, through distance and dust, and maybe, just maybe, this starlight was meant for you. You lying there, breathing slowly, you holding time in your chest, you with eyes that can read silence and a heart that glows in quiet rhythm, because light is never wasted. Every photon has a path, and tonight their paths lead here to your skin, to your thoughts, to the soft place between dreaming and waking, and just as stars speak in light, your own cells, too, respond in kind. Your body keeps time with light, rising, sleeping, healing. You and the stars are not strangers, and perhaps that's why their stories calm you, not because they are far up, but because they remind you that nothing is ever truly lost. Light travels, it bends, it stretches across time, and even long after a star is gone, its light remains, traveling still, which makes you wonder, if light carries stories this far across space, across centuries, then what does it carry when it stops? What happens to light when it cannot escape? You've always known light as something fast, the fastest thing in the universe, a streak, a flash, a spark that outpaces everything, and it's true in empty space. In the great cosmic silence, light races ahead at nearly 300,000 kilometers every second, uncatchable, unyielding, unstoppable. But even light slows down, not because it grows tired, not because it loses its way, but because the world it travels through can ask it gently to linger, and light listens when it moves through glass. It doesn't crash or shatter, it bends, it slows, it reshapes itself for the journey. This bending has a name, refraction, a quiet turning of direction, a way for light to keep going even when the path grows dense. You've seen it, a straw appearing broken in a glass of water, a coin at the bottom of a pool seeming closer than it is. That isn't a trick. It's the language of light adjusting its pace. Light slows in water, slows even more in diamond, slows in fog, in skin, in honeyed glass. In each new medium, it honors the material it travels through, changing speed, changing course, but it never stops. Imagine this: a beam of sunlight slips through your window. It touches the curtain. It passes through the air, the dust, the fingerprint on the glass. At each step, it adjusts, not hesitating, but listening. This, too, is what slowing can mean. Not failure, not loss, but a kind of patience, a respect for the shape of things inside a prism, that simple, angled glass. White light splits, refracts, and spills into rainbow. Each color bends slightly differently, because each travels at its own pace. Red moves quickly, like a warm sigh. Violet moves more slowly, like a hush. The difference is delicate, but enough to scatter light into song. A rainbow is born not from speed, but from slowness, from the way different parts of light agree to travel in their own time. And so you learn something soft and surprising. The most brilliant beauty in light often comes when it slows down, even in your own body. Light doesn't rush. A beam entering your eye moves through curved layers, the cornea, the lens, the fluid inside. It bends, it slows, it focuses. Only then does it reach the back of your eye, where cells whisper to your brain, "This is what you see." Without this soft delay, your vision would blur. The world would become a smear of motion. But because light slows, you see clearly. Stillness gives shape to sight. Now imagine a still lake at dawn. You toss a pebble in. and circles ripple outward, slow, smooth, rhythmic. That's how light feels in water. It doesn't blaze, it glides. In oceans, in raindrops, light finds a gentler pace. It travels more slowly and changes in color. Blue. Light dives deeper. Red fades first dot. This is why the sea, when you look into it, wears blue like a robe. Because it holds the light that lingers longest. And the deeper you go, the darker it becomes. Not because light has vanished, but because it has slowed, scattered, surrendered. In deep water, light becomes memory and still. It tries to reach, this quiet struggle, to bend, to slow, to stay, makes you think differently about speed. Maybe light is not in a hurry. Maybe speed is just what happens when there's nothing in the way. But the presence of matter, air, glass, water, crystal, offers light the chance to change, to soften, to stretch into new shapes. And this stretching gives us so much. Through fiber optic cables, light slows to carry data across oceans. It hums through threads, thinner than hair, curving, bouncing, transmitting thought, your voice, your words, your pictures and dreams, all sent as light, moving not at full speed, but at the right speed. This isn't a race, it's a conversation. And the universe listens. In cold laboratories, scientists have slowed light to walking speed. Through clouds of chilled atoms, light can pause, not stop completely, but hesitate. Imagine that, a beam of light held gently in place, like breath between heartbeats. Even the fastest traveler can take time to breathe, and so can you, who are surrounded by light every moment. You, whose skin is warmed by sunlight. You, whose thoughts arrive through glowing screens and silent waves. Light is in your life not just because it races, but because it slows. Because it bends, lingers, listens. It fills a room gradually. It spills through curtains. It dances on walls. It shimmers through steam and frost and raindrops, clinging to the window pane. Each time it slows, it makes something new. A rainbow, a vision, a reflection, a story. And this story teaches you something, too. That to be powerful doesn't always mean to be fast. That beauty isn't always in the rush. That brilliance can arrive softly when you pause and let yourself bend with it. So the next time you see light ripple across a glass of water, or scatter on a winter morning, or hang suspended in a crystal ornament, you might remember, this is light, slowing down to show you something sacred. And perhaps you'll wonder, if light can change its pace through water or glass, what happens when it tries to pass through something deeper, something heavier, stronger, stranger? What happens when light bends, not because of matter, but because of gravity? You look up. The stars above are steady, ancient, familiar. But tonight, you look with different eyes. You let the silence deepen, let your thoughts slow. And in that soft stillness, you begin to see not just light, but memory. Because every star, every glint of brightness in the sky, is not showing you what it is. It's showing you what it was. You are not seeing now. You are seeing then. Light moves fast, the fastest thing in the known universe, but it still takes time to travel, and space is wide, stretched out beyond measure. So when light begins its journey from a star, it sets out with a message, and that message takes years, sometimes centuries, to arrive. Take the sun, so close, so present, so daily. Even it sends its light across distance. That golden glow that touches your skin each morning. It left the sun's surface about 8 minutes ago, which means you are always 8 minutes behind the sun's truth, always gazing slightly into the past. Now widen your gaze. The nearest star beyond our sun, Proxima Centauri, sits over 4 light years away. That means the starlight reaching your eyes tonight was released when you were living a different version of yourself. It has crossed all that space just to whisper across your pupil, and some stars, some brilliant lights that twinkle above your head may already be gone, extinguished, collapsed, transformed, but their light is still on its way, still traveling, still shining. You're not just seeing stars, you're receiving time. Each photon that lands gently on your retina carries the story of a moment that has already passed. It holds it gently, like a letter arriving long after it was sent, and you become the reader. The night sky is not a live show, it's a vast, glowing archive, a history told in beams. Even the moon, so bright, so close, is slightly behind. Its light takes about 1 second to reach you. When you look at it, you're seeing 1 second-old moonlight. Not much, but just enough to know that even now is always slightly then. And light remembers more than just stars. Look farther to the Andromeda galaxy. A smudge, barely visible to the unaided eye. Yet it holds 1 trillion stars, and its light has traveled over 2 million years to reach you. The light entering your eyes tonight left that galaxy before humans walked upright. You are seeing something as it was when Earth was a quieter place, before language, before fire. In a way, light is time travel, but in reverse. Not you moving through time, but time moving toward you, slowly, faithfully, on strands of light. You wonder how far back can we look? With telescopes that catch not just visible light, but radio waves, microwaves, and X-rays, we peer deeper into space, and farther into the past. We've seen galaxies as they were billions of years ago. We've seen light that began its journey near the beginning of time itself, and then we reach the edge, the cosmic microwave background, a faint glow, a whisper from when the universe was only 380,000 years old, before stars, before galaxies, just a warm fog, cooling and stretching. That light has been traveling ever since. It fills the universe, touching everything, including you. You are bathed in ancient glow, in light older than Earth. Not something you can see, but something always present. The universe remembers its own beginning through light, and so do you. Think of the light in your home, reflected from lamps, screens, windows. It bounces, bends, warms. Each room holds tiny fragments of itself, recorded in light's gentle pathways. Moments held in shimmer, in reflection, in flicker, even in your memories. Light plays a part. You recall a sunrise, and with it comes the warmth, the color, the golden edge of morning. You remember candlelight, and your body recalls not just the glow, but the silence it made. You remember how a room felt in twilight, and it is the light that leads you there, because light is tied to emotion, to time, to presence, and in science, it is tied to truth. Light tells us the composition of stars, the distance of galaxies, the motion of quasars. Light allows us to map what cannot be touched, and because light has memory, it also teaches us patience. It reminds you that understanding takes time, that what you witness now may have begun long ago. That change does not always reveal itself in the moment. Sometimes you must wait. Sometimes you must simply receive. You begin to feel a deep gentleness toward the universe, toward yourself, because, like light, you carry your own memories forward, moments that still radiate from you long after they've passed. Your laughter from 10 years ago still lives in someone's heart. Your kindness, your words, your gaze, they travel in ways you'll never fully know. You are not just touched by light, you give light. Your life sends out waves, and maybe, just maybe, they are still traveling, still shimmering across someone's sky. You look once more to the stars, and now you know they are not only distant, they are ancient letters, sent across time, addressed to you. They do not rush, they do not fade in meaning. They remind you that even in vastness, connection is possible, that time can stretch but not erase, and now you lie there quietly, feeling the warmth of stars on your skin, wondering not only where the light comes from, but what it leaves behind when it finally arrives. What does light carry in its silence? And when you stand still in its path, are you part of the message too? Close your eyes, let the world dim, let the colors soften, let the noise fold inward. Now ask yourself, has light left you? Even with your eyelids drawn like curtains, even with the room wrapped in quiet shadow, somewhere inside you, something still glows. Not a beam, not a blaze, but a hum, a shimmer, just below the surface of thought, because light is not only outside you, it lives within. You remember a face, and there it is, a glint in the eyes. You recall a moment, and suddenly it blooms in color. Sunlight on a kitchen floor, streetlights through the rain, a candle flickering in someone's voice. These are lights that memory holds, not in the sky, but in the folds of your brain. Even sleep, that deep, quiet drifting, is lit with whispers. Your mind does not go dark. It rewires itself for dreaming. Inside your head, billions of neurons fire in pulses. Electricity ripples in waves, currents that flicker like lanterns on a winding hill. Your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams, they dance in electrochemical rhythms, tiny signals sparking across synapses, carrying images, fears, feelings, all lit from within. And though no beam of sunlight enters your mind, there is still illumination, soft and hidden, the glow of consciousness. Brain scans show it clearly. During REM sleep, when dreams deepen and unfurl, your visual cortex activates as if your eyes were open. The brain paints light without needing any. It creates scenes, sunrises that never happened, forests you've never walked, people you've never met, and every detail, every color, every shadow is made from the same essence that once poured in through your pupils. You carry a gallery of light within the walls of your skull, and even without real photons, your brain remembers how to shine. It makes you wonder, where does that light come from? Neurons are not little lamps. They don't glow like stars, but they speak in sparks. They pass voltage like secrets, and when they do, they create patterns that echo light waves, pulses, timing. It's not the light of sight. It's the light of knowing, of being, of inner awareness, flickering into form. Even when you sleep, your pineal gland senses the dark. It adjusts your inner clock, tells your body it's time to rest. And yet, in this stillness, your mind begins to glow more freely. Dreams unfold, not in pitch black, but in painted space. Inside them, time bends, rules soften, memories mix with invention. You see without eyes, you walk without legs, you light entire landscapes without a single sun. All this woven from the memory of real light, because your brain has learned light since birth. The first thing your newborn eyes sought was brightness, contrast, movement, and now, years later, your mind is so steeped in light that it knows how to mimic it in sleep. Even blind minds dream in form, in feeling, in spatial rhythm, and some see flashes of brightness, a ripple, a flicker, an echo of how the body once knew light. It means this knowing is deeper than sight. It's cellular, inherited, etched into the rhythm of who you are. Think of the fireflies, how they blink in coded patterns without ever having learned from the sun. Think of deep-sea creatures who live in darkness but carry their own glow, bioluminescence, light from within. Is it so strange, then, that you, too, carry inner light? Even when your eyes close, even when your body stills, your brain sings in pulses, like soft lanterns floating downstream. And these pulses are not random. They follow waves, alpha, theta, delta brain rhythms that mark your descent into rest, into dreams, into deep, unknowing sleep. Each wave is slower than the last, each one dimming the external world so the inner world can bloom. In alpha, your thoughts drift. In theta, images stir. In delta, your body restores itself, while your mind wanders the landscape of night. And in all of this, your brain glows gently, constantly, like a moon behind clouds. This quiet fire within you is not an illusion. It's how you remember, how you imagine, how you heal, and when you dream, you often dream of light. Open windows, open skies, streetlights, reflections. Even in nightmares, light plays a role, a flicker in the hallway, a flashing sign, a burning horizon. You do not know why the mind needs light to dream, only that it does. That light, real or remembered, gives shape to emotion, gives color to story, and maybe, just maybe, this is the deepest truth of light, that it teaches you not only to see, but to feel, to remember, to imagine. And as you lie here, your body resting, your breath slow and even, you begin to sense that the journey of light does not end at your skin. It enters you, it lingers, it becomes thought. And even when you sleep, even when the world is quiet, your mind holds onto it, spins it into softness. This, too, is a kind of starlight, a private aurora, a silent flame. It lights up dreams, and sometimes those dreams light the way forward, because there are places where light still reaches but cannot escape, places where memory deepens and light bends into something else entirely. And that's where we go next, to the edge of the known, where the last light falls inward. You've followed light for so long now, across galaxies, through prisms, beneath skin. You've watched it bend, pause, split, and shimmer. You've seen it speak in color, in memory, in silence. And now the path begins to dim, not with fear, not with ending, but with a quiet softening, a final breath, because even light has limits. There are places in the universe where it cannot escape, where its speed, its brilliance, its determination is not enough. These are the places where space folds inward, where time stretches like syrup, where gravity becomes so strong that nothing, not even light, can return. You know this place by name, a whisper in the void, a question wrapped in awe, a black hole, not a hole, really, not a tunnel or a wound, but a region dense, collapsed, curved, a place where a star has ended its burning life and fallen inward under the weight of its own gravity, so much mass, in so small a space, that the fabric of space-time itself sags inward. Light approaches, and doesn't return. It doesn't vanish instantly. It doesn't scream. It simply curves, more and more, until it no longer escapes. This invisible boundary has a name. To the event horizon, it's not a wall. It's a line, a place in space, where escape becomes impossible, where time distorts, where the future turns inward. Once crossed, there is no coming back. Not for ships, not for dreams, not even for light. It dances near the horizon. It spirals, bends, slows. It creates a glowing halo, a ring of fire and memory around the darkness. You can't see what's inside, but you can see what surrounds it. The last light, captured not from within, but from just before the fall. And even in this, there is beauty. A black hole isn't an absence. It's a threshold, not a door that shuts, but a doorway that opens to mystery. And the light it steals tells us something too. We've learned to listen to its absence, to read its silence, to map its pull by watching how stars move around it. We've even taken its picture, a blur, a circle, a shadow surrounded by flame, proof not of what light can show us, but what it cannot. And still, this darkness is not despair, because the story of light does not end here. Even when it fades, it leaves behind echoes, radiation, heat, gravity waves, whispers in the fabric of space. The black hole sings, low, slow, rippling music that instruments on Earth can hear. And what are those waves but the memory of light falling? Even Stephen Hawking, whose mind followed these curves of time, discovered that black holes may not be eternal, that over ages they can evaporate, that they can release, very slowly, the information they swallowed, that perhaps nothing is ever truly lost. And so, even in the places where light ends, its imprint remains. Just like in you, your own life has seen brightness come and go, joy, pain, moments that felt like light, and others like shadow. But even the fading parts left warmth, left shape, left story. You remember not only the brightness, but the feeling it gave you. You carry those flickers still. They echo in your choices, your memories, your kindness. You are not just someone who watches light. You are someone who reflects it, and maybe you are someone who gives it too. Because you can't always see the effect you have. A glance, a word, a moment of patience. But like photons streaming from a distant star, your light travels further than you know. And someone, somewhere, feels it, even if they don't know where it came from. Even if you've forgotten you gave it in this way. You are starlight. You are the afterglow of every kindness you've ever received. You are the echo of every light that ever reached you. And now, as you rest, as you lie here in the stillness, you know that even darkness is not without light, that even at the end there is softness, that even when the beam fades, the warmth lingers. And so the journey ends, not with a flash, but with a gentle hush. You return now to your breath, to your body, to your place beneath the stars. The light outside dims, but the light inside burns steady. It is not racing anymore. It is not bending. It is not scattering. It is simply being, and maybe that is all light ever wanted, to move, to shine, to become memory, and then to rest.